It was an ambitious plan to create a technology-based city in Malili, Machakos County, built to create over 200,000 jobs and attract multinational investment firms to Kenya. 7 years later, little activity has been recorded at the expansive Konza Technopolis. Though the government is optimistic, it is on course. Initially set at a cost of 850 billion shillings, this has gone up to 1.4 trillion shillings. Faizal Ahmed visited the proposed Silicon Savana and brings us the following report.
In 2013, the government sold us on an idea that they were going to develop a techno city in the middle of nowhere. All these years later, what's visible that is supposed to be Konza City is a building situated in the middle of nowhere that's only visible from Mombasa Road. So is this a white elephant project, or is there more than meets the eye?
Kindly move. Pomp and optimism marked the launch of what was touted to be Africa's Silicon Savana in January 2013. The Konza Technology City finally getting its footing after years on paper.
You may not believe that there will be 200,000 jobs here, but you better just keep watching. If you don't believe, those who will keep watching, they'll see it happen.
In mind, the government had a replica of the US-based Silicon Valley, a city that would offer both tax exemptions and holidays to investors and hurdle the country into one of a few global ICT zones in the continent. But 7 years later, only this building, the proposed administrative block, stands on the 5,000-acre piece of land previously set aside for cattle ranching. The gushing winds, a reminder of just what needs to be done. The plan was to build a city through a 4-5-year phase. The total cost then estimated at 850 billion shillings. Government pledging to lay out the infrastructure and interested private partners building their own facilities. Years later, this is yet to be achieved.
One is the funding of the project. 14.5 billion or 1.4 trillion is so huge. Even if government is to do the 10% of that, it's already huge. 400 acres, the first one, it requires 600 billion. For government to do that, the first one, government needs to invest between 60 billion to 100 billion for that to kick off. So that has been one of the issues.
According to Bitangendemo, whose office at the time conceived the idea and birthed it, the challenge has not been financing.
I didn't think finance is a problem because that project had a lot of goodwill and most people wanted to see it up and running.
The National Lands Commission, he says, presented the first hurdle to the project. This was, however, dealt with when the land was transferred to the Konza Technopolis Development Authority, KOTDA.
When we were putting up Konza, we knew China was losing the advantage of manufacture of light electronics. That is why we said this is a low-hanging fruit which we should take. The universities did not rise up to the occasion by massively focusing in that direction, training young people to attract those companies, and they will get jobs in that space.
Among the initial global firms that showed interest at Konza include internet search giant Google, Chinese network and handset maker Huawei, and BlackBerry manufacturers Research in Motion and Toyota, while local investors include, among others, universities such as the Nairobi University, JKUAT, Safaricom and the Nairobi Hospital. Their interests declining over time.
The investors who have expressed interest, especially the high-tech multinationals, they fully understand an ecosystem of this nature and they are very keen to find the ecosystem ready for them. Those who expressed interest earlier have been part of the group, really urging us to progress fast on putting the right infrastructure in place so that we can be able to host them.
And there are specific requirements for any other building that will be set up here. So probably that would be the reason why it is taking a little bit longer, because first of all we want to get things right in terms of the infrastructure. And I said, like in other areas whereby somebody would start a building, they don't even know where the source of water is and things like that. The story here is completely different.
The whole Konza project sits on a 5,000-acre plan. Now, the government is supposed to develop 400 acres of this, which will be a mixed-use project. The rest is supposed to be taken up by institutions like Toyota, Huawei and the Nairobi University for their own development.
According to Ndemo, Konza is still vital to Kenya's economy, especially in catapulting us to the next level.
We are still in that space as we move towards the fourth industrial revolution. Africa having the youngest population, we have that advantage. Over those very few years, India has taken much of the manufacture of light electronic from China.
Africa is young and growing, and that is our strength.
But as we still grapple with turning the Konza dream into a reality, neighboring countries such as Rwanda ran away with a similar concept, launching the Kigali Innovation City in 2015. Designed to host universities and tech companies and at a cost of 200 billion shillings. It is well ahead of its 2020 completion date. Faizal Ahmed, Citizen TV.